Are you stocking up all your homeschool stuff? Getting some fresh markers? I liked how Lisa Marie Fletcher from Canada Homeschools actually had a full piece of artwork where she was testing all her markers out. A beautiful little piece. But I think I've got too many markers. I am actually certain I have too many markers. 15 years of markers and pencil crayons, and I don't know that anybody ever uses pencil crayons in this home, but it sure is fun to get all that stuff stocked up. Or maybe you're in your first week of homeschooling. I know there are a lot of people doing that. Welcome back to homeschooling, the formal parts of homeschooling. Today we're going to talk about realistic expectations, or probably its evil counterpart, our unrealistic expectations in our homeschool. And as you can imagine, there are probably endless numbers of unrealistic expectations that we all have in our homeschools. So I have in the link in my bio and Instagram a PDF that tells you maybe 20, 30 different ideas of how you could be perhaps overwhelmed in your homeschool because of your unrealistic expectations. I have a PDF that's downloadable, the very last one in the list. It's called the Grappling with Overwhelm Checklist, and it'll help you address some of your unrealistic expectations. But I thought I would share with you about 10 unrealistic expectations that you can just put in here and say, maybe I should start practicing putting that thought away. So the first and foremost, the very first thing that I would suggest to you, that I know you already know this, but are you doing it? Be realistic with what you can do. You cannot do everything. Really, you can't. And nobody is. I know it looks like they might be, but they aren't. We pick and choose what we do with our kids, what we decide to put in our days. We are in different seasons in our families and our parenting. If we have really little kids, we don't have the mental wherewithal to do all the things. But when they get older, it turns out we don't have the mental wherewithal to do all the things because they need us in different ways. So remember that no one is actually doing everything, and the kids don't need you to do everything. In fact, they would rather you not always interrupt their fun playtime to insert educational opportunity here. They would rather just do their thing. So if you can do that, you'll discover you don't have to do everything. They don't even want you to do everything. Did you know that you're never going to have a clean kitchen or a perfect bathroom or a mudroom? If you've got a mudroom, it's never going to stay clean. You probably know that. But if you were like me in the beginning years, or like other people that I hear, there is something inside of you that just says, just for a day? Could it be like that just for a day? No, it cannot. Everyone is also not always going to get along. I really wish this one was true. I really wish it was. I wish I could convince the kids that you are going to be each other's best buddies one day in the future, and all of these moments are going to be your happy memories from childhood. You're never going to see another friendship as valuable as the ones that you were born with, or at least it could be that way. So I want it to be that way. It has to be that way. It's not going to be that way. Everyone is not always going to get along. There won't always be days of no complaining. You could actually put a lot of effort into some of the activities that you prep for your kids, and they could very much not like it. So note to self, just don't put that much activity or effort into that activity. They will not always appreciate their siblings. They're definitely not going to always recognize that their siblings are going to make their beautiful childhood memories and lifetime friendships like you'd hope. And they are probably going to bicker, because bickering or arguing or all of the stuff that's sibling rivalry is actually them trying to figure out how to be in the world, how to be with other people, figure out who they are. And they can only figure out who they are if they figure out they're not their sister or even you. So everyone really won't always get along. You will not find the best curriculum. There isn't one. Even the most beautiful, expensive one is not the perfect curriculum. But you could literally use all the curriculum or any curriculum, and all of it would be great somehow, some way. You will not find the perfect curriculum. It won't be found. Some days you are going to feel like some days are hijacked. That you had all these beautiful plans, you put them in the planner, or you didn't, but you hoped for a wonderful day, and because of maybe a surprise trip to Emerge, because someone double bounced on the trampoline, maybe there was a jarring phone call from afar, someone called you and they needed you and it interrupted your day. Maybe kids that just breathe fire as they pass each other in the hallway. There are going to be days that feel emotionally hijacked, but they won't stay, and you can always wait till the next day. Sometimes those are seasons, and accepting that, exploring why that is, of course, but also recognizing that it is just our reality, that things aren't always perfect. We have emotional reactions to those days too, and a note to self, you actually have a certain emotional expenditure or like energy that you cash in every time you engage in something, and it does actually wear you down after a while. So we get to accept, or we kind of need to accept, that sometimes when something unexpected happens that hijacks our day, it takes away our good emotional energy that makes us want to say, this is a fabulous homeschool day, when it's not. So accepting what we're really feeling, sitting with what we're really feeling, asking ourselves to label that feeling, maybe sit for a while with a journal and ask ourselves, what is actually our thoughts, our underlying thoughts before we had that feeling, to try to understand ourselves. That all plays very largely into our entire homeschool, or into our family. And that's the heavy work of homeschooling. That's the stuff I find the most difficult. And I think I always will, because that's part of the challenging part of life. But that's the hard part of homeschooling. But that's the stuff that when we do get into the thick of that, it actually has a profound impact on our happiness in our homeschools. So you have other relationships that need to be attended to as well. It's not just the kids. It's not necessarily just your partner. It could be other relationships outside of that. So sometimes you need to address those relationships. Sometimes that means that you definitely have to address it with boundaries. You have to learn where you end and someone else starts. And the first way that I learned to do that was really to go inwards and say, how am I really feeling about this relationship? Or how am I really feeling in this scenario? Am I really feeling like I am fully being me here in this place or in this relationship? And what am I missing? Or what am I missing out on? Or what am I really not fully expressing myself? Or how am I not really showing up in this relationship? These boundary discussions I've heard go all the way into different people's experiences in different religious establishments, or into their marriage relationships or their partnering relationships, obviously with their kids, definitely with their parents, co-workers and employers, and literally everywhere. And when you start with one relationship and it starts to have a big earthquake in your life, you discover that it actually trickles down into all the relationships. But when you address it, your needs and someone else's, showing kindness to someone else, then actually it can eventually balance out. And the people that are most important stay. And you honor those people because you also care about them as much as they care about you. So boundaries are necessary, and you have other relationships outside of your kids that need attending to. I also shared that your kids won't honor you stringing two thoughts together all the time. They won't always honor the fact that you're sitting on a toilet and you're peeing. You would like a little quiet time. So boundaries are definitely also important with your kids. You get to decide what's important for you, but you also get to decide how to instill those boundaries or those lines. And in my personal experience, being reactive in it and showing frustration with it never seems to work, even though it seems instinctive for me, and I see that it's instinctive for a lot of other people. Sometimes people aren't reactive and sharp, but rather they shut down and go quiet or withdraw. Whatever the coping mechanism, it doesn't necessarily help establish the boundary. So being firm, being kind, and really believing that you need this boundary set, that I really do want you to stay out of the bathroom while I'm peeing. If you believe that, they will eventually believe it too. If they're little, expect it will not happen seamlessly. Even when my oldest was 18, she still was knocking on my bathroom door. So it isn't seamless, but it will absolutely grow in, it will actually benefit you if you continue to practice that. And the last thing that I wanted to mention about our unrealistic expectations is that you probably think I shouldn't be questioning myself in this homeschooling thing, or I shouldn't be questioning myself about this homeschool socialization thing, or I shouldn't have all these doubts because all these people are asking me stuff and I need to be certain so that they're not afraid or that I'm doing the right thing. And the reality is we have our questions. We do have these niggling things in the back of our heads that says, is this right? Am I doing this well enough? Am I giving them the opportunity that they should have? That is every parent's experience, no matter how they approach their child's education or what kind of clothes they wear, or if they got them enough travel experiences or enough trips to the library. We all do this. And the way to dispel it is to accept that it's our reality. We do question ourselves, and people that see us doing these non-mainstream activities like homeschooling, they will also question us. Sometimes there may be reasons that are unhealthy behind that, but mostly it's just concern. People just care. They just want to make sure that your children are having what they need. And so they're just worried too. So knowing that, the way to get through those doubts is keep watching your kids. Is it working? Are they learning? Are you noticing that actually the way the conventional system is working is not necessarily working for your child? In fact, you had your own conventional experience probably, and it wasn't probably the perfect way to approach an education. Keep going. Time will help you. Definitely read a lot of stuff about homeschooling. Definitely engage with a lot of homeschool mama mentors and other people that can support and encourage you. And keep watching your children. Watch how they learn. Observe your kids. Be part of their homeschool. Really engage in how they're learning and encourage them, facilitate their learning. And guess what? Eventually, you too will not feel uncertain. You will actually enjoy your big, messy, happy, not always happy homeschool reality. So you can check out that Grappling with Overwhelm checklist. It's a downloadable PDF in the link in my bio, at the very end of that link in my bio. And also you can access the free Capturing Your Charmed Homeschool mini course that's also in that link. So I hope you're having a great first week back to homeschool, or you're getting your markers ready. We'll talk to you soon.